It's a tactical Tuesday, you know. We're here to do the question and the answer thing, to take all the questions from the people. Hey, Jamie Haas, good evening. Say good evening to Jamie.
Good evening.
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
You gonna say hi to Jamie?
Good evening, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. Jamie. It's a good name. I like the name. It's a good name.
Like Jamie.
Jamie. Oh, hey, it's Craig and Beeskie's here too, and the Zub Zub. Hey, Zub Zub. What are we doing, Zub? Are you zubbing? And Mac is here, Mac Doza. Should I go ahead and get from the ISR and the big print? Yeah, the big print, that's a good place to get it, bro. Frito and Dustin and Garrett and Crazy and Mr. Wolf and Scott and Filthy and Budget and Chris. And the names, they go by so fast, I can't even, not one more Frank William. That's not a name. Shalom. Hi, Keith. So, and Mallory's here. And there goes all the words. Hi, Tim. So, thank you, Rogan. That's a very nice $5 bill. I appreciate that. That'll get us about 52 gallons of gasoline or 2 sticks of pasta right now, one or the other. So, what you want to talk about? Hey, Shalom. What time is it? It's Tactical Tuesday time. 7:30. What do you mean a weird accent? You guys didn't know this whole time? This is how I'm talking. Hey, Shalom, Tony John. Yeah, we might have moved to Minnesota. You know how it is. So, this whole time I've always been talking like this, but I've had to shut it down to get famous on the YouTubes because it's always been a dream of mine to be a famous YouTuber, you know. So, anyway, say hi to him, wifey. What are we drinking?
Hello. We're drinking a big old shiner.
That's a big one right there.
That's a big one.
It's almost as big as that giant fish I pulled out of the hole the last time I went ice fishing, you know. Not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the ice fisher and.
You're the ice fisher in?
Yeah.
Yeah, but are you from Minnesota?
No.
Oofda.
I'm from the South where we talk like this.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we can't be doing that, you know. Who'd give us another $5 bill? Dinner was good, John. Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. We're up to a whole tanker of oil now. We can buy 10 whole doll hairs or a half a box of mac and cheese, I think. It's about the same. So. Oh, and we got a Yankee guy here. Where are you from?
I'm from the Nepa.
You're from the Napa.
Jopa.
Oh, Carrie, thank you. We're up to a whole box of mac and cheese now. I got 3 pounds of cubes. Oh, they want to know about the baby sheeps. Tell them about the baby sheeps, you know.
So the baby sheep is good. She's what?
I don't know.
She's like 3 weeks old now.
No, she's a day old as far as they know.
I know. But yeah, maybe even like a month old. But all the babies are doing great. And our last ewe, Sweetie Pie, her udder is just starting. I like how I do that. Like, you got to know.
You got to cup the udder, you know.
You got to cup the udder.
But don't tell the HR department because you're going to get in a lot of trouble. You're going to get a strongly worded letter from the president if you do this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to grab them, though.
You got to be into
You got to grab them.
Extra gentle when you're pulling on the teats.
They got the little teats.
Yeah.
I don't have the fingers for the little teats.
No.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I need the giant sheeps, you know.
But
what
they're
is
all
going?
Doing great and playing in the field.
Thank you,
having a
Craig.
heyday.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And then our turkey hatched a chicken.
Oh yeah, tell them about that
Yeah.
wee little bugger.
I thought you're still talking like you're from Minnesota.
Oh, I am.
Because we were talking like that the whole time we were working.
I've never not been from Minnesota, eh? This whole time.
No.
This is me for reals.
This is just how he is, y'all. He's not drunk.
Be locked on.
People
He's locked in
all the
Minnesota.
time they're like, Bear, why don't you just be yourself? And I'm like, y'all can't handle myself. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
So yeah, our turkey was sitting on a clutch of eggs. Apparently there was a chicken egg in the mix, and so she hatched a baby chicken. and came off the nest. And so I pulled all of her eggs and put them in the incubator. And we have 4 baby turkeys out of 6 that have hatched so far. And then the prolapse mama died. We had to take her to the vet. She had an emergency hysterectomy, and she died 12 hours later. So she had she had stillborn twins inside of her that was the reason for her prolapsing.
So let me tell you the rule of the 4 S's. 6 sheep seldom survive, you know. You're probably going to have to dig a hole or make a big hot fire to make that sheep disappear.
Sick, not six.
Sick.
Yeah,
Sick. Like I got a little cough, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Running a little temperature, maybe some nasal drippage. Yeah, joint pain. Yeah.
I have an oil for that.
I'm sure you do have an oil for that. You've got 432,000 oils, so you probably have an oil for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she passed, but then we had healthy mamas, healthy mamas, healthy mamas. So it's been, we're on the high now.
It's springtime on the homestead.
Right.
Do we have any?
All the baby chickens are in the garden. I gotta go get the baby chickens out of the garden.
Oh, hey, JS Badger. Maybe so, maybe no. You're so right. You know that. So anyway, we got any good questions out there from the people? What do y'all want to talk about? What do you want to talk about?
Doesn't matter what I want to talk about.
No, Kevin, I don't raise the rabbits anymore because they've got the paws, and we take Leviticus 11 pretty seriously, meaning that we only eat food, and things with paws ain't food. But back in the day, I did have some rabbits, you know, and they were pretty big. I had a Californian buck, and I had a Californian doe, and I had 2 New Zealand giant does, and they were gigantic rabbits. They were freaking giant, you know. Shaloha Hanuman 101, and so we got lots of baby rabbit meat from them, but we don't eat them anymore. What do you think of the Glock Gen 1947?
I had one. I don't have one anymore.
That's a pretty good answer, you know.
One. I do not have one anymore.
So. Ducks are food. I finished JS's Zitzi today. Finished DC's up now. Good job. AR or AK? Oh man, you're a funny guy. AR. Dindo nothing. You keep your chicks under the heat lamp until the potato wedges are good to go with them too, and then you serve them up nice and warm.
Better not be talking about chickens.
Well, it's funny because they begin their life under an orange heat lamp and they end their life underneath an orange heat lamp. You know, it's just the circle of life. Yeah, they wrote a Disney film about that. You know, there's some monkey guy up on the side of a mountain holding a baby lion. I never understood it. But, so
retarded.
I'm not retarded. Clearly, I can at least function at a 3rd grade level or above. John Correa, thank you so much. What do you think people should do with their stimulus checks? You should pay your debt and buy a bear fac, I'm thinking. A1P has a request. Alpha 1, okay. Cool story, bro. I don't see it.
Go up.
I'm looking. A1P. Oh, Sister Kate, Shofar Mountain. Shalom, sister. She's here. She said hi to you. She didn't say hi to us. She don't like us anymore, I guess.
Hi, Sister Kate.
Oh, okay. You could say hi.
Hi, Sister Kate.
There you go. Hi there, Sister Kate. It's nice to see you. I hope you're okay out there on the homestead doing the things.
I don't know.
I don't see A1P.
Now you probably done missed it again.
Old Devil Dog, thank you so much for that $20 bill. We're going to use that. We're going to get half a pack of Swiss cheese with that. I appreciate it very much.
It's like $20 will fill my tank, man.
Oh, hey, Wes S is here. Shalom, Mr. Wes S. Martin Glover, shalom. I don't see an A1P anywhere. So, all right, that's enough with the accent. What should you do?
Good job.
Puka, yeah, I ate fast. That's what I do. What should we do with our stimulus checks? You should pay off debt. You should figure out how to invest that in your ability to produce food. What else? What do you think? And your hot take, go.
Bills.
Pay bills. And your hot take, go.
Metals,
Metals, precious metals.
brass and lead and copper.
Oh, Amendment 1 preparedness, you know, is he here? Brass, lead, copper, I like it. That's a good question. Who is doing Women's Group Wednesday? Renee is going to do it, and my wife will be there. It's going to be a great time. Beard oil, yes or no, and if so, what type? I like sweat, sawdust, and beer, and occasionally bourbon in my beard. That's what I find has worked best.
Or you can do a bit of coconut oil. It is a good conditioner
Or that.
of the beard.
And then also, what's it, Psalms 133? Go read Psalms 133 and then talk about beard oil. So, Amendment 1, preparedness, I can't see you. Roger Rabbit Hole, shalom. Sweat, sawdust, and beer. Sounds like men's cologne. It is. I smell delicious. I'm not seeing Amendment 1 preparedness. Try it again, A1P. I'm not foreseeing Bitcoin. No, I'm not a Bitcoin guy. I'm not into coinage. Shalom, Jerry. He has an Instagram prayer request. Okay, cool. They go by so fast. Yeah, you can send a prayer request on Instagram, absolutely. Don't forget the wood smoke. Hey, NWA Prepper. OFD, Oilfield Disciple. Awesome channel, by the way. Yes, you absolutely may send me an Instagram bear or prayer request. Bear, what is your opinion on M855A1? For what, man? Are you guys shooting through the sides of cars with your 5.56 or cinder blocks? Or
Go that way.
Sean Michael, sorry I missed last week's donation. Yeah, Sean, we've considered using swine on the homestead, considered it, but their dead carcass is an abomination. So sooner or later, that thing's going to die on property, and then what do I do with it? And then here's the thing, right? If I sell it, I'm going to sell it to somebody else who's going to eat it, and that's not food. And so now that person's breaking Torah when they eat it, and I'm not supposed to perpetuate sin, and sin is lawlessness, 1 John 3:4. So that's kind of,
Swine was never food to begin with.
What do you think about M855A1?
I don't have a problem with M855, and I don't have an issue with XM193. Those are the two ammo types that I go with when it comes to 5.56 by 45. That's what I got. That's what I use.
So, how about we have some of this, you know? Would you like a taste there, sweetie?
No.
You sure?
Yep.
This is Samuel Smith's Organic Chocolate Stout. I wish that Cody was here. You know, he could reach over there 12 feet away and open that door for us. It'd be great. I miss him. Little.
Leave the door open.
I'm just saying, he can open anything he wants to open. I saw that guy, he climbed a tree one time with 2 steps. Just all the way up there.
He's like the Langley version of Paul Bunyan. He doesn't need a big axe. He just has a chainsaw in his arms.
Sammy Duran, can I ask why pork is an unholy food? I will answer that with my answer. Do you know Sammy Duran? Okay. You just looked at me like, Sammy Duran? So Leviticus 11 states what food is and what isn't. And it literally says swine is an abomination. And I'll give you the broad brushstrokes. I actually go over this in a video that I have on YouTube called Walking in Torah. And the long and short is food, and food is outlined in Leviticus 11. Malachi 3:6 states, I'm the Lord Yahuwah Sabaoth, I change not. Right? And so we like to say in Christianity that the Father Father God, Yahweh, Yod-He, Vav-He, Jehovah, however you choose to pronounce that, is the same yesterday, today, and forever. He changes not. And so when he said food is food, he meant that food is food. And swine is an abomination. And so usually people come back and say, well, what about when Yeshua, when Messiah says, well, it's not what goes into a man's mouth that defiles him, but what comes out of it. That entire passage is about ritual hand washing and him rebuking the Pharisees. And then they go into Peter's vision and, you know, Peter, take and eat, all has been made lawful unto you. Well, that was about if you read again read that in context, that's about Peter not being accepting of Gentile believers in Messiah. So, and then, yeah, Aname, we'll address that next. In fact, I just did kind of do that. Phelps, shalom, brother. And so what food is never changed. And then, you know, so it says in Genesis that all animals are good. And all animals are good. All animals are good. Horses are great. They're just not food. And so then people like to say, well, that was done away with. The law was done away with. It was nailed to the cross. The problem with that is that, good for you, David. Good for you. The law was nailed to the cross. The problem with that is the word is chirographon, and the translation really is your death sentence under the law was nailed to the cross. So shall we sin all the more so that grace may abound? No, God forbid. What is sin? 1 John 3:4, transgression of the law. In fact, Hebrews 10 verse 26 goes on to say that if you knowingly sin after you've received the truth, there no longer remains a slaughter offering for your sins, but a fearsome anticipation of judgment. And that by the law of Moshe, 2 or 3, the witness of 2 or 3, you can be murdered without compassion, killed without compassion. How much more he who tramples underfoot the Son of Elohim has considered the blood by which the renewed covenant was established as common and has denied the spirit of grace. So should we continue to sin now that we know better? Nope. No, we shouldn't. And so my conviction is food is what it says in Leviticus 11. That never changed because he is the Lord Yahweh Sabaoth. He changes not. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And that the New Testament arguments for why we can eat whatever we want to are bunk because they do not line up with anything else, any other teaching in the Word. And that's the teaching of a pastor, not the teaching of Messiah or the teaching of the Most High. And so, or just considered to be acceptable regardless because somebody told me one time and they were a good Christian. And lastly, what I'll say is, people don't realize it, but they put bacon, they put swine on a pedestal. It's idolatry. Like, yeah, but it's bacon. I'm like, even if it was food, which it's not, why are you losing your mind over that? It's just not. It's just not. So that's my take on it. You asked for my take on it. That's my answer. Now, Aname asked, well, can we have those animals on the homestead, which I did just address. And you could, but the issue for me is that sooner or later those animals are going to die, and I don't want to be handling their dead carcasses. And I don't want to keep them and sell them off to somebody else who's going to eat their dead carcasses, because that's an abomination, and I don't want to be enabling an abomination for somebody else. And I realize that if this is not something that you've been exposed to thus far, all this can sound way out of left field, but I promise you it's all biblical, man. It's straight up biblical. So I'd ask you to read Leviticus 11, pray over it, and ask the Father to speak to you. And then there's lots of good teachings on this. Shofar Mountain, New to Torah, 119 Ministries. I have a video called Walking in Torah, Following Yeshua. Lots of good teachings on this. So what food is has never changed because the Father doesn't change. And I don't put any food on a pedestal, including bacon. It's idolatry. Yeah, but bacon. Yeah, but your Creator said don't eat it. And then, yeah, anyway. for the extra patch Harmony sent out. Jim D, bless you, brother. Thank you. Susan Bryant, bless you. So back to M855A1. I want to know what to expect if I ever fire those rounds. Bro, go fire some rounds, man. Shoot them out of your gun in your conditions with your optic and your sights and your environment, and that's going to be way more data than what I can tell you, okay?
I can answer that a little bit.
Go ahead.
So with 5.56, if you're shooting green tip with the steel core, you're gonna have a little bit of an inconsistency at range on a 0. So if you're shooting just regular 55 grain or 71 match grade ammo or whatever, where it doesn't have that steel core, you're gonna have a more consistent grouping at distance. Now, when you're shooting the steel core ammunition, sometimes those cores inside the projectile are not perfectly centered, so that'll cause the bullet to start to wobble when it's still in flight, and it's going to widen out your grouping a little bit. Especially, I haven't noticed any of that at 100 yards. I haven't really noticed any of that even at 200 yards. It's when you start to get to 300, pushing out to 500 is when you really start to see that inconsistency. Now, you know, half an inch at 100 yards, was that inconsistency with the projectile, or was that an inconsistency with me?
Right.
I can't tell at 100 yards. I just put it up to, oh, I threw that shot.
Bless you, Michael Bowman.
You know, so that's just me. But I mean, man, I don't have all green tip ammo. Like, that's what we used in the military because it was the military. But
Jay Johns, shalom.
I like to have a mixture of M855
Thank you,
and
Chris.
XM193. That's just me. Have a good portfolio of both. And if you want to have the ammunition that you run in that 20 round mag, dude, tell them about that. That stuff is awesome. Like ballistic wise.
That's Viper 223 running a Hornady 50 grain VMAX ballistic projectile. Dude, it's accurate. It shoots a third of an MOA out of my recce rifle, and it crushes. Oh my gosh, does it crush?
No, seriously, like lethality, like instant lethality out of that round with proper shot placement.
Yep.
Witness that. Like,
Yep.
Done.
Lights out.
Yeah.
It's
sick. If that would have been like a light penetrator or even just a 55 grain, like that thing would have just went from one end to the other, and that thing was like, I don't see an exit hole.
By the way,
it was insane.
I've been meaning to tell Pastor, and I haven't, but Rogan, bless you. I'll come back to your question momentarily, but SK, if PJ is within the sound of my voice, all those up drills that we've ran, up, shoot, up, shoot, up, shoot, up, shoot, they work. Because, yeah, that coupled with that Hornady 50 grain, yeah, instant. Ruger 5.56 is a great rifle. Rogan Fear, yeah, it's a really good platform for what you're spending for it. I'd say it's probably on par with the Palmettos, the budget Palmettos, and the Smith & Wesson M&P Sport 2. You got input on this?
Man, listen, like, I in the year 2020, I really don't see major differences in reliability between a PSA or a Daniel Defense. Like, everything else after that is kind of like a luxury. Like, ooh, my bolt doesn't make a grinding noise when I pull it to the rear. Or like, oh, my trigger has a really light reset because it came factory with a Geisley Automatics trigger in it or something. And it's like,
Goza wants to know about the G2C. I'm going to go grab it. I'll be right back.
Yeah,
you talk to the people, okay?
Yeah, so, I mean, differences between different brands of rifles, I mean, it's, how much are you willing to spend for the name of the manufacturer to have that stamped on your lower receiver? And, I mean, so I have a, what is it, like a some kind of fancy alloy for a bolt carrier group that reduces the amount of heat transfer that there is, and how smooth the buffer spring is inside the buffer tube, and just like, I don't know, I don't see a point to having all that stuff unless you're doing like competitions or something. But like for everyday use, man, just an M Forgery AR-15 with a flat top receiver and some Picatinny quad rails, or even the Magpul, M-Lock rails factory. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Whatever you can do. Coronavirus.
Okay, so do I think Matt Goza? Do I think that Taurus G2C would be a good pistol for a woman or your wife or whoever? Maybe. So just for comparison, Bear's hand, the pistol. Okay, so here's the issue I have with this gun is the size of my hands. Okay, there's not enough gun here for my hands. When I'm holding this gun, the magazine release is here, and I'm constantly depressing the magazine release. So that's an issue for me. And I've also found that because these two fingers can touch inside when I'm manipulating the trigger, I have a propensity to pull my shot to the left when I manipulate the trigger on this. I have to be really careful. Herman, I'll point it wherever I want to. Philly Flash, bless you. That's my super ultra death bullet. Don't lose it.
Okay.
So I have a propensity for this gun to drift left as I manipulate that trigger because it's so little in my hands. I mean, it's a tiny little gun. That being said, it has run flawlessly. I'll tell you,
Your daughter can shoot the heck out of it.
my 13-year-old daughter can shoot the Puka. Loved your note today, by the way. So
Hi, Puka. I loved your idea.
yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. So Goza, it's a good gun for what it is. It's probably a decent gun for your wife. It comes with, mine came with 2 magazines. These additional 12-round magazines are $30. So Tony and Melissa, shalom. So I would recommend, having 3 magazines at a minimum, but it's going to be another $30 to get it. And the other thing I'll tell you is that I have found this air quote adjustable rear sight. And again, it's not loaded. That rear sight, and there's your sight picture. That rear sight, no matter how much I drift it one way or the other, doesn't matter. It might be, adjustable, but it doesn't drift enough to actually change the point of impact. But it's a good little gun. It's basically, the internals are, it's a Glock clone, in need of a decent cleaning, but it's a Glock clone. That's all it is it's striker fired Glock clone, and kind of long, spongy-ish trigger pull. I mean, right here you hit the wall and then it breaks, and reset is back up here. So but I mean, as compared to a Glock 17, it's significantly smaller than a Glock 17. So, Phelps at Rod Bear, do you have experience with polymer cased PCA Spectrum, polymer cased 223 ammo? I have some PCA Spectrum 55. It's about half the weight of normal ammo, but I haven't a chance to take it to the range.
Hey, so this is Chris, right?
Yeah.
All right.
What's up, Phelps?
I got you, man. If you have the ability to burn through 60 rounds of that stuff as fast as you can, or go through 2 magazines worth of regular brass ammo, and then run through a magazine of that polymer cased ammo, and tell me how well that ammo does when your chamber gets hot. I'd actually really like to know.
Ooh.
I don't trust polymer case. I don't trust plastic casing yet. I do not trust it, because now I get it. If you're in a situation where your barrel and chamber and bolt group are getting so hot on a direct impingement
This
firearm
is delicious, by the way.
that, you know, it's getting so hot that you're going to cause malfunctions because of heat, and plastic is starting to melt.
Cook off.
You're in a really bad situation regardless, but I mean, like, I don't know, man. I need to see it proven first before I start buying it. Like, I need to see it go through all the ringers yet, and I haven't really seen a lot of people going with it yet. Now, if it was like I know with the chamber and the barrel, it really doesn't matter, but like maybe on a piston-operated system, that would be different. But give me interchangeable chambers.
That's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, like we're not at that platform yet, and I know that
so
the
good.
Marine Corps was looking at, or the Army was looking at new machine gun variants. So I don't know. I know their one machine gun, it would go into the chamber and then go down to the barrel. Like the chamber was a separate entity of the barrel on this new platform that they're experimenting with. And it's like, dude, that's some high speed stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't trust polymer plastic casings yet. Maybe one day, but not right now.
5.56 versus 7.62. Literally have a video on it. Before we answer that, y'all need to get some of this if you're into dark beer. This stuff is freaking tremendous. This is Samuel Smith's Organic Chocolate Stout, and it's, I won't exaggerate, 46 times better than the last one I had. Where'd it go? Anyway, the one that I was drinking earlier, which I've had lots of. This is super good. You want to try some? You want to try some?
I'm good, man. I got bourbon tonight.
So this is the Young's Double Chocolate Stout that I like, and this is fire. This is fire compared to this. This is good. This is like, I might just have to leave and go have a moment. So, yeah, it's very fair. All right, what other questions we got? What's going on here? Brandy Cope, bless you. Thank you. And Rick Harsh, Shalom Bear, newbie here, enjoying the stuff. Watch your YouTube and study Genesis right now. Awesome, Rick, bless you. And then Phelps.
And Phelps, I had to resend your stickers.
Tell him how. I like how we do business on live
Yes.
streams now.
Well, I recognize all these names. So, yeah, I had to resend your stickers. So, they're on their way to you.
Hey, can you bring my Carhartt out here when you come back?
And that is all.
Thank
Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your support. This stuff is so good. Sure you don't want to try a taste?
I'm sure. Yeah. And we're coming out with a new sticker soon.
Don't tell him.
I won't.
Maybe tell him.
Should I tell him?
It's up to you. You're the one that's got to hear him complain if it's not in the store when they go look for it.
So it's not available yet. And I'm not sure when it will be available because we're dealing with some supply chain issues. But we are rolling out a tactical chicken. It's pretty sweet. I like it. It's actually like a tactical rooster. But, you know, because the roosters are the ones that get dead around here. So,
Good job.
you're welcome. Yeah, thanks.
Guinness drought or draft thoughts? Guinness is delicious. That's my thoughts. Thank you, Saf.
You're welcome, sir.
I'm a big Guinness fan. My jacket smells delicious because it was inside where all that stroganoff was.
Oh, yum, yum.
Hold on, I gotta stand up.
Oh, my goodness.
Is this good footage?
Boys are...
Does this help for you guys?
Don't stop.
You like this show?
Move out of the way.
Hold on, I'm trying to get situated. There's a thing on my thing.
Don't make me bust out my wrap.
Yo, rap. Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so like I said, it's not there yet. But
Thank you.
I'll let you know when it's there. And it's coming.
Nice.
Nice. So,
I can't read. I need my glasses.
Phelps, thank you. I got my stickers a week ago. Am I getting more?
I don't know. Are you?
Bear, what's up with the tornadoes in Oklahoma? I'm thinking of moving over. We are fine. We're fine.
Yeah.
So around here, not much of an issue. Doug Bucher, shalom, Dog Bugler. Thank you. Thank you much. Optics on a carry pistol. No.
No.
Nope.
Absolutely not.
Nope. 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 Nobody. Nope. Nope.
Nope. I don't
Nope.
even
Nope.
know,
Nope.
but
Nope. 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 These are suppressor height sights, night sights, on El Glauco.
They all look suppressor.
Listen, they're suppressor height sights on El Glauco.
Oh, they're Glocks.
Listen,
so,
guy.
You know.
Oh, I'm a sick guy.
Oh, Grocco.
No. Nope. Nobody. Nope. Nope. Would you all run a LVPO on an 11.5 inch pistol? Been running the PA Raptor 1x6. Thoughts on running a low power variable optic on an AR pistola?
I do.
Roderick, send it.
So I have the low-powered variable
like
optic
this.
1x8 Raptor M2 Platinum edition from Primary Arms. It's a 34 millimeter tube instead of a 30 millimeter tube, and it was like 3 times the price.
Don't make the ladies' eyes glaze over.
Yeah.
So
The 1x6, their standard 30 millimeter tube for like $400. Dude, the optic, the ACSS reticule, it's awesome. The only thing that I will say is that you really need to practice with that optic if you're not used to running a variable optic, because the eye relief is a lot of eye relief and a little bit of movement. If you're off center from where you zeroed just a little bit, it is going to throw your shot at 100 yards. It will throw your shot by an inch or two if you're not really getting into it. And that might just be me with my eyes that I'm having that issue, but I have less than 200 rounds on this new optic that I got so far. So I need to get
the thing.
I got to get a little bit more experience with that new optic, because I'm used to like red dots and ACOGs. So, you know.
So
there ain't nothing wrong with them though if you know how to shoot 500 yards.
I'm wondering why we need a low power variable optic on an AR pistol. What is the philosophy of use on the pistol that requires you to need to make accurate shots at distance or positively identify?
Oh, it's on a
on
pistol.
An AR pistol.
Oh, dude, if you're running anything less than a 14.5 inch barrel pinned and staked for a legal 16, I mean, you want to run a red dot with like a 3 times magnifier on an AR pistol, by all means, bro, but you're not going to get accuracy at 500 yards on an 11 inch or
I'm just wondering why we're putting an extra pound on top of the gun to get that magnification.
I wouldn't run it on a pistol. Not on a pistol.
I mean, you can do whatever you want. I just don't think that it's, I don't know. I mean, out here, our long shots are 75 to 100 yards. Primary arms, red dots, and prisms, good to go. I don't know about their red dots.
Never used them.
I've never used their red dots. If they're prisms, their magnifiers, or anything like their LVPOs, they're good to go. They make good stuff.
I used the Vortex Prism optic on my ACR, and I had good results with that. They're the Vortex ×3 Prism, or 3.2 or whatever it was. I think it was called the Spitfire.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used that. I didn't mind it. I thought it was good to go. So, and that was on an ACR, and then I got rid of it because I realized, oh, part support and spare parts
Doesn't exist.
does not exist.
Vortex 1 to 4 on a 10.5 inch pistol for deer hunting. Okay.
I can see that. I mean, if you're pushing, no more than 200.
Yeah.
Depends on the barrel length.
What parts kits should we keep on hand for just in case? We're talking AR parts, bolt carrier group,
trigger springs,
I was just gonna say spring kit,
and a hammer.
Yeah. What else is there? Just a buffer.
On hand, I mean, like running in like an assault pack.
I think in an assault pack, a spare BCG, you're good to go.
An entire bolt carrier group that's ready to go. I'm not field stripping a bolt carrier group in the middle of a firefight.
Yeah. Open it, pull the old bolt out, put the new bolt in, pin it back together, good to go.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing. And that's what I would do at a minimum.
But if let's say
trigger stuff in a bolt carrier,
let's say it's in your shop or your barn or your garage. Like some lower parts kits are fine, and spring kits. a hammer, a spare trigger, perhaps a mil-spec trigger. Because, listen, most guys are going to upgrade the triggers in their guns anyway. Save your old one. Like I told Rod the other day, I said, if A2 bird cages were buckets of food, we could eat forever. Because I have more A2 bird cages just laying around. So anyway.
I love the Surefire War Comp, though.
Hey, it's
That thing is
Adapt
awesome.
2030. Shalom, brother. Yeah.
You haven't shot my War Comp, have you?
No.
Yeah, you need to try that thing.
I'll
man.
shoot it tomorrow. What holster you use? I have the same setup. I'm using the Bravo concealment. Aaron Martin, shalom, brother. I don't love the Bravo concealment because it retains on the light. I'd rather it retained on the pistol, and then that way, if I had the light on it, it retains. If I don't have the light on it, it retains.
They have a deal 2 for 1 right now. Just saying on their website. You can get 2 holsters for like $70.
Dude, let's do that interview. Let's do it. You know how to get a hold of me? Let's do it. It's David at Adapt 2030. Great channel. If y'all are not following David at Adapt 2030, you should. He knows his stuff. And listen, I love guns, but we're making people's eyes glaze over. So let's talk about something else.
Baby sheep.
Logan, shalom. Baby sheep. Back to the baby chickens.
The turkey.
Yeah, that thing is like the size of my thumb. Earl's daughter, shalom. Do you have an experience growing blueberries or strawberries? Any suggestions? You do. Send it. For Earl's daughter.
I mean, I don't have it. I have some growing.
Well, talk about how that
doesn't
has
make me
happened.
experienced.
And then we got to talk about fighting knives. Remember fighting knives? Go ahead.
I don't know. My strawberries are just like, they're almost like wild strawberries because they like shot out, and I had them in a little bucket, and they shot out, and then they like replanted down in the ground, and now I have strawberries coming up all around there. So they will spread, and keep your dog out of your strawberry bed.
Keep your dog out of your fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And then our blueberries, the ones that I got are like little tiny sticks. Like I've got one that has 1 shoot on it, I think. Maybe 2, maybe it has 2 shoots. But I think I read somewhere that like you were supposed to prune them to like the strongest 2 shoots. Or like if a branch had more than 2 shoots, you were supposed to cut it. So, but I could be really wrong.
All the wrong.
I could be.
All the wrong.
Yeah, I might be thinking of grapes.
So, in short, Earl's daughter, we don't really know, and we hope you still love us, and we love you, and we don't really know. So,
yeah, just
Figuring it out as we go.
I try.
oh my goodness, who was that? AJ Fam. Bear, what up from California? I got around 25 to 30 packs of different heirloom seeds for you in Hami. Do you have a place where I can send them? Yes, email me, ntxmag@gmail.com, November Tango X-Ray Mike Alpha Golf, and we will make that happen. Bless you, brother, and thank you. And thank you for the $20, by the way. Okay, and fighting knives. Bear, I have a question about fuel during SHTF. Stand by, David. Fighting knives. First question is, do you actually know how to fight with a knife? Or are we all going to be channeling Benicio del Toro circa 2000 something, where he fought that guy with the knife and it was all like this, right? And they were slashing and cutting each other and yada, yada, yada. What did Cheyenne say the other night when I said, hey, Shiny, what's the first rule of a knife fight?
Bring a gun.
Bring a gun.
Has nobody ever watched Indiana Jones?
Yeah, hashtag raising them right. Hashtag raising them right.
This is amazing.
So
I lost it when she answered that.
So the first rule of knife fighting is bring a gun. The second rule of knife fighting is you're gonna get cut. You need to just make up your mind now. You're gonna get cut, and you need to cut the other person faster and better than they cut you.
It's nasty business, man.
Now that being said, Recommended fighting knives? I don't really know, but I can tell you some of the knives that I own that are suitable for fighting with. Essentially all of them, but any good, sharp, fixed blade knife will work. I like the Ontario Rat 3. I'm a big fan of the Mora, as you'll know, for everything. And I, rather than doing this, I'm not well versed at this out the front method. I like this, and I really like it in my offhand. And the reason I like it in my offhand is because I have this sticking out. This is an impact weapon. I can cut like this, come across. I can hook and control. I can stab. I can do all kinds of things like this. I like this.
And you can still knock a motherfucker
And I can still, I got closed fists, and I can grab, I can pull, I can cut, I can control, and if I have to get my gun out, I can get my gun out as well. So, all that being said, a good fixed blade knife that's sharp is recommended for knife fighting, but gosh dang, man, why are you knife fighting? Why? Get a baseball bat. I'd rather you were baseball bat fighting than knife fighting, or just a broom handle or a piece of pipe or anything. Because, I mean, I'll tell you what, man, if you're like, hey, man, you come up to me with the knife thing, I'm going here, okay? This is my answer to your knife fight, okay? So
The reflection in the phone lens blinded me.
yeah, you're welcome. See? That's my answer to your knife fight. And then, okay, if like we actually have to have a knife fight, I still have this. But I don't want to do this up close, and neither do you. So, Tommy Salter, shalom, brother. No, this is the Streamlight TLR1
Sweetie pie.
HL. You think that's Sweetie Pie? You think we're about to live stream a sheep birth?
I think she's way too early for that.
So we'll trade TP for TTPs. Okay. Oh, hey, Dad. Can I be famous on the internet too?
Hi, Sid.
Hey, Rod. Hey, guys. I
Hey,
killed
Sid.
all the bad guys.
Cool, you were digging through poop earlier. That's
I'm
okay.
so excited. Knock it
Are
off.
you taking a nap all day and now you're just
Phelps. Someone else's question I liked. If
Like, I
plan,
know, Sam.
if
Down.
plan buying acreage later when I could pay cash, but Corona apocalypse, would you take out a loan or wait and no debt? No, I think honestly at this point I really don't like debt, but interest rates are at historic lows, and a mortgage payment is definitely one of those types of debt that is more acceptable than say credit card debt or student loan debt or other types of unsecured personal debt. So I think that's a really good question. As long as you're not overextending yourself, yeah, get the land. I think we're approaching the point now where it makes sense to get the land and then go from there. But do not overextend yourself. If you can do it without going into debt, don't go into debt.
There's a lot you can do with a 16 by 24 building with a 112 pitch roof with a loft and a barn on land. You can do a lot with that.
Great question.
I would raise a family. I would raise 2 kids in a building that small if I had to.
I-
Great Depression 2.0 and all.
I have a lot of subsonic 9mm ball ammo. Is over-penetration still a major factor?
Subsonic or
Subson-
supersonic?
Subsonic, he said.
Ball ammo, it's still a factor, but I mean, man, if you hit something that's soft, it's gonna slow down, and it's not moving that fast to begin with.
Over-penetration on what? Are you talking like grand jury rounds where it goes through one person and into another? Are we talking home defense? Because why am I going to use home defense? For home defense, why am I using subsonic ball ammo? Like, I want, hollow points, ballistic tips, something like that. So,
Guys, the only reason that the military uses ball ammo is because it's the military, and over-penetration doesn't exist in the military.
yeah. Well, and
You want hollow points if possible, but, I mean, subsonic
I'm just
9mm.
I'm just wondering where I'm going to be using subsonic 9mm.
That's all you have.
Yeah, I guess if it's all you have, then yeah, that's a good
If
question.
you have a suppressor, that's not a bad thing
It's
to
a good
have.
it's a good question.
Yeah.
I would not prefer it for home defense, and I would not prefer it for carry ammo. But if I had it for either home defense or for carry ammo, and I could not afford to get a couple magazines worth of hollow points,
Know your target and what lies beyond.
yeah, a good backstop. Have a good backstop. And then, yeah, it's going to have less over penetration than standard ball ammo just by its very nature. Is it ideal? I don't think so, but is it better than nothing or better than standard pressure 9mm? I don't know. In a lot of cases, I mean, ball ammo, what makes it lethal is the penetration. The ballistic, the wound channel that you get in the hydrostatic shock of that round going in. So, I don't know, man.
Don't stop pulling.
Don't
that
stop
thing
believing
until the threat is neutralized.
Yeah. Also,
One
don't stop
shot
believing,
is
though.
not the minimum.
Yep. One shot. You only get one chance to blow. Your opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music. It's true.
My family
You own
matters.
it. Yeah. It's very true. So true.
Yeah. Any other questions that don't involve guns?
Yeah,
I
got
know
a
I'm
lot
here.
of gun
I
questions.
know I'm here, but let's relax here.
My tactical Yankee.
You gotta give the people what they want.
Listen. 12 gauge number 5 for home defense. It don't miss. Agreed. James Cipriano. What's the worst firearm? All firearms tonight. Jeez.
Woo.
What's the
It's
worst
the
firearm?
Apocalypse, bro. Everybody's got the food now.
Yeah, I know. No, they've got their food storage, but they should be planting.
Do not buy a high point, please.
Why? They're so good.
I don't care that Matt from Demolition Ranch shot one down the barrel into the chamber and it survived.
Did it really?
I think it worked too. That's the most structural,
You and Harlan,
strength graded part of
you
the
and
gun.
Harlan-
Words are the best.
you and Harlan need to have a Demolition Ranch day and just sit on the couch and watch Demo Ranch.
I've seen it all.
Probably.
Don't buy a high point, please. They're the most unergonomic. Like, I would much rather have a single action revolver than a high point.
I'll tell you what's also a pretty bad firearm for a lot of applications, especially if you're going to hand it to your wife, is a 357 snub nose revolver that you can't aim and is not accurate past 3 yards and hurts your hand like hell every time you pull the trigger.
Or a double-barreled 10-gauge shotgun.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Sean Michael, for the 11.5, the LVPO is for target identification. Oh, roger that.
Cool, man.
Okay,
Good
yeah,
to
then
go.
go for it. PID, that's cool.
Good to go.
Yep, go for it. Thanks for the clarification.
I was saying 800 yards or 500 yards with an 11-inch barrel.
You
just
can do it.
You turned a point target into an area target. With
And
that
by the
barrel
time
length,
you get
bro.
there, it's like, what the hell is that?
Stung by a
Somebody's
bee.
shooting at me.
And everybody is gonna hear you because
Yeah.
one at nighttime fireball.
Blah! Yeah. It's like, what the hell is that?
It's like a slowed down, louder version of Jose. Blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Sheep stuff. Stay tuned for more cool t-shirts. Sheep stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, the
This is
comments go
great.
so fast. What shotgun would you recommend for a small woman? A youth model Mossberg 520 gauge. Would you agree?
Yes.
All firearms tonight, man.
Everybody's
Tell them
good
about your
training,
20
man.
gauge. You like your 20 gauge?
I love my 20 gauge. Yes. It's fun.
Do you find it easy to shoot?
I do.
Those
Yep.
chickens don't love your 20 gauge.
No.
They'll learn to love it one day.
Neither do the turkeys.
Yeah.
Speaking of turkey,
Yes.
that
Yeah, we got
spotlight's
it. We
looking
got to
pretty
do.
gnarly. That needs to happen.
We got. Yep. We got to do that.
Yeah, that's why it's limping. It's the limpy turkey.
Oh, is it?
And it's limping on that side.
Well, only one side of it's gonna get eaten. Y'all talk to the people.
I can't see the people.
Tell them what's going on with the turkey.
Yeah, and why? What do you think?
So,
Worms? Question mark? Really?
so we've got a turkey, y'all. What's Harmy's favorite pistol? So mine is a Walther 380, PK 380. I don't know all the gun things, but I like it. It's different than like the Glocks, which T hates it. But I'm like, that's fine because it's my gun. But I like it, and it's easy for me to shoot. I like the mag release on it. We did a video on it.
Yep.
Didn't we? Yeah.
Yep.
On Bear's channel. Look in the Homie Biscuits playlist, and you'll see my gun. But I like it all, but the color. I hate the color. It's pink, but that's
They
what
make
they
a
had.
purple one, but they didn't have it in stock when I
Yeah.
went to get it. So
So, yeah, so we've got y'all are so commenty, and I can't read them all. But we have a turkey that has a weird spot on it. It's like under its wing, or yeah, kind of.
It's like the top
And
of its thigh.
yeah, kind of like the top of its thigh, right at the edge of its wing, and it's all black, and like the turkey like eats it, and we had another one, and these are the meat turkeys, so not our heritage ones, and I think it's caused from like a protein deficiency because they are like a super high protein diet bird, and I think it's like basically turned cannibalistic on itself.
well, I also think that breed is not supposed to live this long.
And they're not supposed to live this long. No,
That's
because they're
It's
going
an
on a
industrial
year,
bird.
Yeah.
It's not a. It's not.
year and a
he-
half old.
they're at least a year. Yeah.
I think they're like
the
a year and a
heritage
half.
breeds are, they live.
They're They're genetically modified.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Selective bred. The heritage breeds are heritage breeds. They're natural birds.
Yeah.
But the broad-breasted white is essentially, it's borderline an abomination. It's one or two iterations away from being an abomination. They're not designed or intended to live this long, and they've been living a long time. So I think it's just, it's
Harvest time.
It's harvest time
Yeah.
for show. So who be dropping that
Literal
$20 bill?
They asked about the life after CB, I think.
What does 1 month from now look like from an SHTF CV standpoint? Kurt the Mole, great question. I shot a video. I don't know if it came out today or if it'll come out tomorrow, called The 7 Threats, What Comes Next. And so I would recommend you watch that video. But I think 1 month from now, people are going to start going back to work. I think that socially, we're going to be different. There's going to be a lot of asking and or a lot of telling as to how people should conduct themselves out in public. Economically, we're going to be different. I'm hoping that we can crawl out of this hole that we've created pretty quickly, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. I'm hoping, obviously hope is not a strategy, but I'm hoping that a lot of people are realizing that a lot of these stupid laws we have are just that, they're stupid. And that a lot of the excessive governance we have is stupid. That we shouldn't need to ask permission for as many things as we do, and we shouldn't have a bunch of essentially jackbooted thugs telling us what we can and can't do. And I'll tell you something that's really been just sticking in my craw is the arresting people for going to church. F you. This is United States of America. And that is just quintessentially something that just chaps my ass. And so I'm hoping that a month from now, things are getting back to normal. But there's perhaps an awakening, a realization. I really do believe that we all need to take food production seriously. You need to make as much food come up out of the ground as you can. I think you're going to see a devaluation in the US dollar. There's going to be scarcity of certain critical things, food being one of them, perhaps the critical thing. I'm hoping that there's a mindset shift from, oh man, they don't have my kind of bread, to praise God they have bread. right? Like, well, we only get the giant sunbeam. It's like, who cares? They have bread. Praise Yah. I think most people will be eating less meat than they are right now. We will be eating the same amount of meat as we are right now because we've been spending a couple of years to get to this point. And it's one of those things, the idea that, well, Bear, when the world ends, I'm just going to bug out to the wilderness with my survival seed vault and I'm going to build me a brush hut and live in that for a while. And I'm going to hunt, fish, trap, scavenge, and forage everything that I need while my greens come up out of the ground. No, I don't think those people are going to do that. If they were, they'd already be doing it. And it doesn't happen overnight. And so a month from now, I'm hoping we're back to work. I'm hoping we're on the mend. And I'm hoping that there's a societal awakening back towards what we would consider conservative mindset. I don't know if that'll be the case. But I also believe that we're going to have to tighten our belts a little bit. People are going to have to take responsibility for their own well-being and quit farming that out to the fragile system, because the system is proving that it is fragile. This is something I've been saying for years now. It's the reason the channel's called Bear Independent. We want to be independent of that system, because that system ain't going to last. So, great question, Kurt the Mole. That's what I got on it.
Me too was first.
Who?
Orange.
That's the one I just answered.
Oh.
Which is a better cartoon, Darkwing Duck or Chippendale's Rescue Rangers? Are you kidding me? Rescue Rangers, bro. Rescue Rangers. What about you?
The
90s,
what
baby.
was the first one?
Darkwing Duck
Darkwing
or
Duck.
Rescue Rangers?
Dude, I grew up watching Rescue Rangers.
Okay, good answer. Good answer. Rachel Colford, shalom. Gargoyles. That's a good one.
Somebody asked basic gardening tools.
Good one. And then we need to talk about
Sold out.
then we need to talk about prepping kids tactically. Talk about some garden tools. Somebody asked that as well.
So get you a hoe.
You know, get you a hoe.
A good hoe.
A good hoe
Yep.
that knows what she's doing.
Yep.
I mean, that is good at digging holes. Or, I don't know.
One that's made out of plastic.
Not a plastic hoe. You don't want none of them plastic hoes. You want all real, all natural hoes.
So like my grandma
Like
she has a hoe standard. She has
Oh, I love talking about
Preach it,
gardening
girl.
tools.
Preach it.
she's got not just hoes, but any gardening tool standard. She wants the head to bolt onto the handle.
Smart.
And a lot of the even your expensive tools nowadays are all riveted. So, or they're just glued. It's just glued on, and those glue that breaks. So, a good quality hoe will you want to look for a screw. It's like a screw and a bolt, I think like a lock nut or something on the other end. But a hoe, the spade, I don't know if it's a hoe. They're like pointy one. Like a hoe's like the flat. It's, it's got like the flat edge on it. And then they make like a pointy like spade hoe, I guess. It's kind of like a plow. But you do it by hand. And one of those, and I like the rock rake. That's good at
rock rake for sure.
Getting out the grass bits and all of that stuff. Good.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
A spade shovel and a flat shovel. Yeah,
like hand tools too, because sometimes you need your little shovel, and I got one the other day that had it had the spade on one side, and then it had the 3 forks on the other side. And that's good at getting out the weeds. And when it comes to digging seeds, it's good to have a little hand spade shovel. And gloves, lots of gloves, because you're going to wear holes in your gloves.
You might want to, if you're preparing a bed, you might want a pickaxe as well.
Yep.
Yeah. What other garden
But I
tools?
think-
I mean, that's pretty much it.
What about a swole? I don't know what a swole is.
You got a swole hoe? You better listen, or she smack you upside the head. Okay, and how to prepare your kids tactically for SHTF. That was a question as well.
Backpacks.
Pan the camera this way, por favor.
And a tiller. Yeah, like a little, my grandma got like a little baby tiller, and it's awesome. And then we have a bigger one for us.
Yeah, we do.
Is that on
Okay.
you?
Well, no, back your way. There, a little more.
Oh,
There you go.
there you
Right
go.
there. Perfect.
Okay.
Hi, Sue.
Hey, Rod. I didn't turn into a speed bump again.
Good.
So first thing
Good
I would
job.
say, as far as preparing your kids tactically, how old are your kids, and why are you putting your kids in a tactical situation? And I've discussed this several times on video here. If my kids are in a place where bullets are flying, and I could have prevented it, I'm doing my job wrong. It's my job as a dad to make sure they don't end up in that situation in the first place. So, that being said, our two older kids know how to shoot. They're 11 and 13. They can both operate a rifle competently, a pistol semi-competently. And when I say semi-competently, my son shot the El Prez drill clean with that Taurus G2C the last time he shot, so that's cool. And they can both kind of run shotguns. They're not really interested in that 20 gauge recoil currently, but they can run it. But tactics is a lot more than knowing how to manipulate a firearm. Tactics is not putting yourself in a bad situation in the first place. Tactics is being able to fight your way out of that bad situation. Tactics is, shoot, move, communicate, cover, and move. There's a lot that goes into that. So teaching your kids tactics for SHTF, man, I don't know. That could be its own 5-part mini-series on this channel. But I would start with, I don't want my kids anywhere where they need to employ tactics that I could have prevented it. What do you think?
So, I don't disagree with any of that. Those are really good points. I'm coming from the perspective of I don't have kids, but I've instructed kids and I've instructed family units with kids. Like parents and kids were all there, right? One, preparing your kids tactically, they should know what the plan is, and it's just like a fire drill, man. We'll use a home invasion as an example, or a burglary as an example. They should know what the code word is for, hey, there's an intruder in the house, get down flat on the floor in that part of the room that I told you to. There should be a code word for that only the family unit knows. It's like a challenge and pass. Like, somebody breaks into the house and I go scream chocolate rainbow unicorn sprinkles at the top of my lungs as an example. It's going to be a lot faster than, something else, and it's going to, have that element of communication, but you need to practice that. It's like a safe word, right? They should know how to react to a situation like that tactically, right? Now, I'm not throwing a 3-year-old an AR-15. That's stupid. I don't even want to
Including
throw.
yourself.
I don't even want to throw most American 16-year-olds an AR-15 because they're just like, I get it. Like, worst case scenario, yeah, kids are gonna have to adapt. I get it, but just to get them prepared. One, I would not be lying to my kids about what's going on today.
Yep.
I would definitely make sure that they understand that the world is different. Why is it different? People are getting sick. What can happen? Mommy and daddy might not be able to afford to buy things that we don't need right? We might not even have the money to buy the things that we do need and things along that nature. Like, we can't buy these snack food items at the grocery store right now. We can only we can only get the things that we absolutely need. Right? Make your kids understand what is actually going on. Don't just like hide it from them. If they're at the age of understanding what you're saying to them, then they're old enough for you to tell them what's going on. They have access to the internet now. Like, it's not hard. You can't hide anything from kids anymore.
This is a good talking point. The stated purpose of our preparedness is to perpetuate normalcy for the people that we love. We perhaps have perpetuated normalcy so well for our kids that they are, even though we're telling them and exposing them to this, having a hard time understanding that things are different. Because to them, what's different is they're not going to school. That's the difference in their experience. Everything else is business as usual. And it's difficult trying. Now, granted, they're...
There goes Dad walking outside with his rifle again.
Well, but I mean, I'm their dad, so it's not like they're not used to that. You know, it's like, hey, Dad's carrying guns. What else is new? Hey, Dad shot things. What else is new? Hey, we're eating food out of buckets. What else is new? And so we've done perhaps such a good job of perpetuating normalcy that our kids don't see how abnormal this situation has the potential to become. And so getting them to understand, to engage in that mindset shift has been a bit of a challenge, at least for me, because on the one hand, I want them to take it more seriously. And on the other hand, I'm thankful that they don't have to take it more seriously. And so there's a real push-pull with that.
They can still be kids.
Yeah, and I want them to, and maybe you could speak to this a little bit.
And one more thing real quick.
You got one more thing real quick?
One more thing real quick.
Okay,
The
fun.
only thing tactical that I would be hooking my kids up with, and again, I don't have any, would be a backpack that maybe has that ballistic soft armor in it and bare essentials of what they need in case we have to leave.
Got a video on that in the prepper classroom, by the way.
That's it.
Yep.
And basic proficiencies like you already talked about.
Yep.
But until they're adults, I'll pass.
So, kids, mindset, getting them to understand that things are different right now. What's been your experience with that?
Like how our kids are doing, or
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I agree. Like we've prepared so much that it's not super uncomfortable. There's been a couple of times that it's like, okay, y'all go easy on the milk.
Yeah.
Let's stretch this out for a couple of days, but that's really been like the worst of it, and like them not getting to go hang out with friends, I think, because to them this is like extended spring break, and so
which is burning me up because they are acting as if it's extended spring break.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it is springtime on the homestead and there is stuff to do.
Yeah.
So get your ass out of bed. Yeah, we have things to do. And they're like, Dad, it's spring break. It was like spring break was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Okay? Right now,
Here's
it's
a
you
garden
get out of
rake.
bed or Dad gets mad. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's been a little bit difficult on them, but we've instituted FaceTime calling and Zooming and all of that stuff so that they can still interact with their friends at least, and of course they do like the texting and all of that, and like with their school they're doing Zoom meetings, so I think it's good for them to be able to like see their teachers and see other classmates, and they make sure to like talk about the good things that are going on. Like Cheyenne was telling her teacher bought 10 baby chicks for $84.
Holy
Oh.
cow.
Gouging.
What?
Yeah.
Call the
What?
Call
And
the,
Cheyenne was like, we have like so many chicks. Like,
call the Attorney
you could have
General
just
of
told us
Arkansas.
and we would have given you
Arkansas.
some. Like, we've got turkeys in the incubator right now. And so, yeah, but they're trying to like talk about the good things going on. I know one of the teachers like showed all the kids new tricks that she had taught her dog, and little things like that, which is, it's good. It's giving the kids something to talk about.
Well, and one of our kids' teachers follows the channel and actually reached out to us and said something to the effect of, Bear, thank you for what you do, because we are in a better position now than we would have been had we not found you. And that, I talked to the person on the phone, had a good conversation with that person, enjoyed talking with them, and we've established connection. But that's like one of those OPSEC things where it's like, I don't want people in our immediate area being really up to speed on what we do and how we do it and so forth and so on because of the risk that presents. But it's also good to know that our kids have a school teacher that thinks incredibly highly of them and is in a good position. And really, after that conversation, it's good to know that we can be a blessing to each other because of certain things we both have going on. So adding that person to the network and staying in contact with them. But that was definitely a hand of the father thing, you know, where they were like, hey, man, thanks so much. And I'm like, for what? Talking at an iPhone? You know, you're welcome. Telling you over and over again, stock food. Well, now I understand it. And it says, I said earlier, the father right now, what he's telling me is grow food. He's told me for 2 years, stock food. And we diligently obeyed that to the best of our ability. And now he's saying, grow food. Yes, sir. And so to the extent that you've been blessed by me telling you over and over again to stock food, now I'm telling you, grow food. Mm-hmm. That is my conviction right now. You got to make food come up out of the ground.
Yeah.
And that food that we stocked is our cushion to get us from now to when our food starts coming up out of the ground. So.
Yep. And our here we have Atwoods, but they're sold out of baby chicks. Like,
Yeah, they are.
you cannot get any babies around here, which is probably why she spent $84 for 10 baby chicks. But I'm like, good grief.
Burning Hearth Homestead.
I could be making all the
Shalom,
monies
brother.
right now.
Hey, homie, can I buy a Tom from you guys?
We'll have to see what we come out with these 4 here.
Alec, shalom.
But yes, you can.
Okay.
Can we get a little personal? Why no beard, Rod?
Oh, why no beer?
You answer that while I go to the fridge. I'll BRB. You need anything?
That's
Okay.
funny.
You're good. I'll be right back. You need anything, Rod?
I got my whiskey out here, man. I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Up close and
Making.
personal with the bald face.
We gotta make room for the people to walk on the deck because I pause when I talk.
Because we have a big tub sitting.
We got a big tub of it. So this was the tub that was here. That is
That
like
was the tub that was in your room that they never installed.
that they never installed, and now you guys are like,
But
huh?
it's
That might make a nice
36
bedroom.
by 72
Yeah,
jetted tub.
it's a big tub. Like,
Brand new.
is it like a jacuzzi tub or just a
Yeah.
tub? It's a jacuzzi tub.
Yeah. I
Yo,
told T we need to turn it into a hot tub.
cabin jacuzzi tub.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why do I not have a beard? So my hair on my head is a lightish brown, a medium brown. The hair on my arms is a blondish brown. The hair on other parts of my body is brown or blonde.
What's your butt for?
And don't need to go into those details. But my beard grows in red. For some of you that might have followed my channel, Yankee Survival, shameless plug, I know. for some of you that might have followed my channel, Yankee Survival, or at that time I think it was called the Repentant Yankee, I had mutton chops for a while. Ooh, there's ice now.
Let there be
Sweet.
ice, you know.
And there's ice for whiskey, you know. But now there is, yeah, I had mutton chops for a while because my mustache would grow in blonde, and it would grow in at about like a quarter of the rate as the rest of my beard. So the best that I could do would be like a ginger bearded version of Hugh Jackman from like the Wolverine. And I'm like, I'm just gonna wait a little while.
That
I'll
guy's
grow my-
pretty hot, you know.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, and I've made several commitments in my life that I've been taking pretty seriously over the last 6 months, and I'll make this one. As long
You
as
heard it here, folks.
you've heard it
You
here.
heard it here.
We'll go back to the
Oh,
bear
hey
here.
there, guy. No, go ahead.
So
Let's talk about commitments.
when I am living on my own land, job permitting, I'll just let it go, man. I'll just let it explode. I'll try to give it 6 months, because I don't think I've gone longer than maybe 3.5 months of just straight growth with just letting it go. I think I've always, like, the longest I went was like 3.5 months before I was like, okay, I'm over this, and I just shave it off. So
See, Bear shaved this morning.
Yeah, I shaved about 4 hours ago.
yeah,
So it's
Yep.
you should see what my chest looks like.
I shaved a week ago.
Oh gosh. Dan Brassley, thanks for all the great advice. You're welcome, Rod. Oh, I mean, thanks. John Fresenden, thank you. Thank you. Hey, Vicky's here.
Oh, Kristen.
Yeah.
Hi, Vicky.
Hey, Vicky. Any good places to buy a new King James Bible for cheap? Nope. I don't know any place to buy those for cheap. This is a weird night, Bama by the Bay. You're welcome. You're welcome.
The Dollar Tree.
Ashley, I shaved like 4 hours ago. Believe me, everybody tells me
My beard is tremendous.
your facial hair, nobody's getting through there. It's impenetrable, like the wall. We're not going to build it. We're going to grow it. We're going to put Rogaine with minoxidil on the southern border,
You can't
and that
shave
wall
your
is going to
velvet
grow
tan.
up. It's thicker than Kevlar. It stops all the bullets. Everybody tells me you can't kill it. You can't kill it. I tried. You can't do it.
Bro, if you shaved your beard, you'd have a tan line of a beard on your face.
If I shaved my beard, I'd have a beard. That's what happens.
Like the next day.
Like it's insta beard. Like there's. My wife's never even seen my chin. This is not an exaggeration.
No, I've seen the side of your face.
Yeah, she.
But I've never seen the top of his lip.
That's right.
I see what you're talking about now. Like when you go to lean back in your chair, you're like, this might be the time. Like,
This is it. This is it.
we're doing the railings next.
Taking a trip. How should we prepare in the event the U.S. decides to go to a digital currency only? Donato Hurtado, great question.
Dude, I don't know.
If in the event it decides to go to a digital currency only, I can tell you that the way that we intentionally live our lives now is going to have a lot more benefit than it currently does, because we are building meaningful relationship with people that we love, that we, like, for example, I don't have a dairy cow, but man, I'm trying to find one. I don't have beef cattle, but I know people that do. I don't have particularly the room to grow grain here, but I know people that do. And they know me, and I'm really good at dropping trees, but they're not so good at that, but they're good at tinkering with solar, and I know kind of that, and then another guy's really good at diesel mechanics and blah, 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 blah. And so we are networking and have been networking now. And so that this is what Sanctified Industries is supposed to be. And if you've been at this channel for a good long while, you've heard me talk about Sanctified Industries. It's the idea that at some point, if we go to a digital currency, or if there's a mark of a beast or something like that, at some point, those of us that serve the kingdom are going to need a way to continue to get the goods and services that we require to continue to exist. And man, that's buy, sell, trade amongst like-minded individuals. I'm not taking a mark of the beast. I'm not doing it. And I'm not saying that digital currency is that, but man, you can make a really easy, really compelling argument that it is. What the heck is that? Christopher Phelps. Love that. I was kind of just messing with you, brother. Serious question now. Can y'all comprehensively walk through what thoughts, procedures you would put into a situation where you need to meet and barter with an outsider post balloon going up? Good question. Okay. First is you gotta don't just go by yourself. You need a QRF and Overwatch. I ideally want to control the scenario. Let's say it was between you and me, Phelps, and we're gonna meet at the corner of County Road 12 and County Road 13, right? And we're gonna get together. You better bet your ass that if the meeting's at 9 a.m., we've been there since 3 o'clock in the morning. And that you might see me, but it ain't just me that's there. And if this thing goes sideways, the lead is gonna fly. If this is the first time we've ever met. This gets back to security and commo. This gets back to understanding the environment that you're operating in, having a network, having a group of people, being able to do the things. Your gut matters. Every time I have never regretted going with my gut. I've always regretted not going with my gut. Always. When that hair stands up on the back of your neck, or you get that your guts twisted into a knot, or you just know, go with it. So, and then oftentimes people ask, hey man, why do like-minded people tend to revolve around their religious beliefs? And the answer to that is we're predictable to each other, right? And the higher the level of predictability, the higher level of comfortability we have with one another. Because if my belief structure says we don't just murder people, but your belief structure says it's perfectly okay to murder people, hypothetically, I'm going to be less likely to trust myself around you and trust you around me and all my other people, because we have different ideals on things that matter. And so knowing as much about that person as you can is good. Step by step, we're going to get there early. We're going to know the person that we're dealing with. We're going to know all the people that person is dealing with. We're going to have eyes on the area and eyes on the pathways in and out of the area. We're going to know why we're there, what we came to do. I don't want any digital devices there at the meet just cause. And if the exchange, and this could sound like a lot, but you just don't know. Because if somebody tails you back to your place, let's say you're going to go trade a goat for 10 chickens. Okay, cool, no big deal. Well, unless you got 27 goats. And, little Susie on her bicycle follows you back to your place. And you're thinking, oh, no big deal, it's just little Susie on a bicycle. But little Susie on a bicycle is basically the recon party going, hey, they got 27 goats and 3 steers, and there is a whole bunch of hay there, and I saw a bunch of gas cans, and blah, 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 blah,
Children
blah, blah.
are still to this day used to gather intel.
Yep, absolutely.
Still to this
and
day.
to diffuse situations. So it has to be treated as a tactical situation. The more you do business with somebody, the less so, although it's always, to a certain extent, a tactical situation. So, again, that comes down to doing business with people post-event that you don't know is not something that I want to do. That's why I want to know right now who are the good people and build relationships with those people, and who are the bad people and have ways to mitigate them being bad towards me now. Right now. And so, what would you add to that?
So my idea, because I like history.
That's so sexist. What about her story? Because she was there too. Women forever have been
Didn't
there
mean to forget
since
you,
the dawn of
herstory.
time. Just because Adam came first
History.
doesn't mean that you get to not talk about her story. It's not just his story, it's the story. Okay?
Didn't like
No,
didn't
okay?
Corona-apocalypse cause people
Okay?
to start like chopping firewood
Okay?
to live? This isn't a problem anymore.
Okay? Okay?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Okay.
So my thought process on that, and you saying that you don't want to be the one involved with making deals and trading and all that other stuff. On a business perspective, in the West, back in the mid and late 1800s, when the railroad was a thing,
Right, the railroad?
and even prior to the railroad becoming a thing, and this was back when Indian attacks still happened.
Whoa, people of color.
History, man.
Her story. Continue.
History. The past of what the United States dealt with.
Go
whether
ahead,
it was
I'm
good
sorry.
Or not, you're fine. General stores were a thing. And a lot of general stores back then, and yeah, refrigeration and electricity wasn't very common back then, but what did they have? They had canned goods, they had ammo, they sold guns, they had stocks of bags of burlap sacks full of beans and rice and all these other things. They had a pen out back for livestock like sheep and goats and chickens and all that. And when somebody wanted to come over and sell some of their product to the general store, cool. What do you got? What do you want? And it was a barter and trade system. Obviously, currency was a thing, gold and silver back then, right? Which might become a thing if, the internet no longer works because of whatever reason for certain parts of the country. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't be against the idea of having, if you have the money and the business savvy to do it now, get a little general store, man.
Or a trading post.
Yeah.
At the crossroads of 3 county roads where they all come together, set up a trading post to be the guy that runs the trading post. And then,
That's a nice local area for the entire community to go and exchange goods and services.
So, couple things, because we just had a $5 that dropped off that I'm going to answer because I remember what the question was.
Okay.
But also, the other thing is, you don't necessarily need to be the person doing the transaction. So, if you can, not use a lackey or a patsy, but it's just like in business. The owner of the company isn't necessarily the guy flying to Toronto to drum up new business, right? There's somebody for that. So again, having people to be the person to go, so be it. Now, the other question, the $5 question that dropped off was, what's your take on during SHTF, the biblical difference between killing and murder? So here's the deal. I have a video on this. I highly recommend you watch it. It's called Father God Loves Soldiers, talking about the difference between thou shalt not kill and thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not kill is a mistranslation in the King James Bible. The command is thou shalt not murder, and murder is a crime of the heart. Killing is all throughout the Bible. Thou shalt not murder is the command, and murdering is a crime of the heart. It's the same thing. This is expanded upon by Messiah, by Yeshua, by Jesus, when he says, look, it's not enough, and this is in Matthew 5, it's not enough, I believe it's in Matthew 5, that you don't just murder your brother, but don't call him an idiot either. Raka, you idiot, because now you've murdered him with your words. It's the intent of your heart. And so, if the intent of your heart is to deprive somebody of their life violently, you are doing murder. If you have to kill to protect you or yours, then you're killing. And killing is not something that happens without ramifications, mental, emotional, spiritual, and perhaps physical ramifications. But it's different than murder. Now, if your plan is to go murder people because you didn't do your due diligence before now, and now the world is ending, this is not the right channel for you. You will not fit in here. We will put you in the compost pile.
Exodus 22.
And the person who asked the question, I'm not saying that that is your intent. I'm just making it clear for the whole class that I in no way endorse people murdering other people because they didn't do their due diligence. In fact, it's the opposite. We have special plans just for folks like you. Now, the flip side is if you find yourself in a situation where it's your life or somebody else's life and they're trying to do you bodily harm, they pose a lethal threat to you, you do what you got to do. There is a reason we all have guns all the time. That reason did not change when COVID-19 started. Now we're in without rule of law. I carry a firearm to protect myself and my loved ones. The end. And so part of that, a big part of that, is not putting myself or my loved ones in situations where I have to employ that firearm. But hey, man, if we got to do this thing, we're going to do it harder, better, faster, stronger than anybody else.
Speed, surprise, aggression.
Yep. Violence of action.
I'm just wearing mud boots and blue jeans and an old coat I got from Grandma.
That's right. And a cig. I'm just wearing my Carhartt and my hoodie and my Glock, and there are weapons everywhere. Well, there were before the boating accident. Yeah. And so killing is a condition. Killing is circumstantial.
Look throughout history, and you can find a lot of people that needed to be.
Hell, the Levites. Aaron, the high priest, while Moshe is up on the mountain receiving the 10 commands from Yahuwah, from the Father God. Aaron is like, they're like, hey, Aaron, make us something to worship. And he's like, okay, guys, bring me some gold. And he makes him a golden calf. And of course, Moshe comes down and he's like, WTF, bro. And he's like, I don't know what happened. This gold just fell in the fire and this idol popped out. And Moshe like slaps him. It's like, WTF, bro. And it says, all right, sons of Levi, the Levites, put your swords upon your hip and go throughout the camp from north to south, east to west, and slay every man who bowed down to this idol. And 3,000 men were killed that day. There's a time and a place for killing, and we ought to remember that as well. If you're engaging in idolatry, if you are counter to what the Father has told you to do, there's a time and a place for killing.
And you got to be careful with that too. Because if you live by the sword,
you die by the sword. But see, but this actually also gets into people who are like, hey, I want to keep the Sabbath, but my job requires me to work on the Sabbath. Well, if your job falls in line with what the Levites did, like, for example, law enforcement, they carry swords. Modern day military carry the modern day equivalent of swords in service to the kingdom, the church, the temple. Right? If your job is that of the Levite and you are required to work on the Sabbath, there's an argument that could be made that you are doing the right thing by fulfilling your duty on the Sabbath. Because somebody had to guard the camp. Somebody had to perform the work. Somebody had to do the stuff, and that was the children of Levi. So, anyway, Judeo-Christian values, what are those? Do we even have those anymore? Because, by the way, COVID-19, so y'all stay home and don't go to church. So, plus, I was going to say it, but I'm not because I'll make everybody mad. I'll tell you later.
Roger.
Raj.
So, Whiskey.
And stout beers. Stout beers.
That bourbon's good.
Asymmetrical preparedness. Shalom, brother.
Shalom, Mike.
Yep. What's going on? Say it.
It was a good day today.
It's a good day today.
I'm loving this cold front, though.
Yep.
Like, even though my hands are cold, I'm just like, I love it. I can just put on more clothes if I want to get warmer.
You should put some socks on, babe. I can see my breath. You should put some socks on.
Yeah, it's like...
How's my breath smell?
It's April in Oklahoma. It smells stouty.
Stouty. It smells like oatmeal.
With a hint of chocolate.
It's a little bearish.
Good stuff.
What I was going to say, and let's just, let's just piss off everybody. We're going to be worried about the difference between killing and murdering, but we're going to continue to idolize dead pig. No. Nope.
We built Target stands today.
We did. Tell them what we did today. I'm going to go pee off the porch.
All right. Go do the pee off the porch. So we we're doing some repairs on the house yesterday that needed to get done because the one wall, wall rot. Studs were no longer doing the things that studs should do for walls. So we had to make those repairs. So we got all that put back together and repaired. And then we got the Tyvek over top of that to waterproof it. And then today we're putting more waterproofing layer over top of it. And while we were doing that, we were like, oh, we have a whole bunch of 2x4s left over. This is no coincidence. So T's telling me to, oh, hey, Rod, go ahead and cut this amount of 2x4s at this length. And I'm like, cool. And I'm doing that. And then I'm looking over, I'm like, oh, that's a target stand. Cool. And then it was like, all right, cool. We're going to keep working and doing the things and getting everything taken care of because, you know, priorities. And we're good to go. So that's what we did today. And then we're going to, I guess tomorrow, depending on things, we'll get the range built and finished and get some good practice in and, you know, not use all the ammo because that's a commodity nowadays. But
well, you know, the world's ended, so we're just going to go get what we need.
Yeah, I'm just going to take that $5,000 AR-15 that I only shot twice to verify my zero, and then I took fighting carbine 1 5 times from 5 different Navy SEALs, and then I'm going to go ahead and be a super Navy SEAL operator because they said, hey, you had a good shot group at 25 feet.
I don't know what my PEC 15 does, but it looks cool.
This is the airsoft version of the PEC, bro, but the bad guys don't need to know that.
That's right. It's fine.
So
it's got a range of 87 feet.
Your airsoft PEC 15 has actual IR?
You didn't know? Yeah, it does. It does. These nods are actually just some toilet paper rolls that I spray painted black and mounted onto my bump helmet.
Some paper mache.
Don't tell anybody. I want to look cool. Don't tell anybody.
Man. It's great. It's awesome. I look forward to it.
It's the best times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Busting tail from what, like 8:30 to when did I finish? Just after 6 o'clock.
Just after 6.
Just after 6, and I'm still not done.
And I cleaned all day.
And my wife cleaned all day.
House maintenance.
And I was on the phone with clients and friends all day in addition to doing siding and carpentry things and yeah.
Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah. I was like, hey, you're going to have to hold on a minute. I'm running a miter saw. So, and I drilled a hole in my finger because, look, nobody makes bear bleed his own blood but bear. So, whatever. I hear yotes.
I hear yotes, too.
Them yotes want to be dead, you know.
It's the same group of yotes.
Same yotes. We should get 46 pounds of tannerite and put them in a dead goat body out there and just wait for them to come crawling out into the field and then use our high-speed nods and take them out.
I knew a good candidate to be the bait, eh?
Yeah, me too. Hey, Coco, eat all this tannerite, you know?
She likes to hit everybody with her horns and cause blood.
What if we just got Coco some saddlebags and filled the saddlebags full of tannerite?
Probably easier.
PETA's probably on their way to my house right now, but you know, whatever.
Did you see that video of a 5-gallon bucket full of tannerite and what happens to wild hogs?
No. Oh, wait, yeah. I did see that.
Which, by the way, we need to go see old boy about killing some hogs.
Yeah, we do need to go see old boy.
I think we need to make some. We need to work in the community tomorrow a little bit.
We told him we'd kill him for him. We weren't gonna drag him or butcher him or eat him, but we'd kill him. He's got part of his river bottom is overrun with hogs, and so we'll help you out with that.
Tearing up his land.
Yeah, good times.
Abominations. They're unclean.
Good times.
It can't be food if it wasn't declared as food. If it wasn't food in the first place, then it never is food.
Oh, careful, you're going to make everybody all upset on the internet.
Listen, I used to be one of those guys where it was like, hey, if it doesn't have bacon on it, then I don't want it. And then convictions and learning.
I think it's important to point that out because me too.
I was one of those guys, man.
I was in the church, dude.
I didn't want to give up bacon. And I was like, that is so stupid. You mean that if I start following Torah, I got to give up bacon? Like, that literally came out of my mouth once. And then I was like, wait a minute. And then I read Leviticus 11, and I'm like, and it just came over me, man. It's like, you got to stop doing this. I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. And if, like, and even out of Michael, what was it? Michael 7? Matthew 7. 21 through 24. Is that the chapter I'm thinking of? You know, it was like, man, I don't want to be one of those mistaken, like the people that assumed that they were good because they were doing what their pastor told them to do. And it's like,
And
I don't
many
want to
shall
be one
say
of
to
them.
me in that day, Master, Master, have we not prophesied in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and done many mighty works in your name? And I shall say unto you, depart from me, you who work lawlessness, for I never knew you.
It's like he knew that people would be led astray in the name of Yeshua.
Well,
And
it's,
then there's
he
no
addresses that repeatedly.
There's no forgiveness for that. It's either, like you said, there's two types of people on earth. There's Yah's children
And everybody else.
and everybody else,
And that,
man. And it's like,
and you need to rejoice in the inclusivity as children of Elohim, as children of God, and never take part in the exclusivity of not being, because it's clear, man, when you disregard, I mean, that's literally the renewed covenant in Hebrews 8 is his people disregarded him and his laws, and he disregarded them. That's the renewed covenant. If you go read Hebrews 8, 6 through 12, it makes it clear that the renewed covenant through Yeshua Messiah, through Jesus the Christ, is that his laws are on our minds and written on our hearts. That's undeniable. Like, that's what it says in the Bible. And so if his laws aren't written on your mind and on your heart, what are you doing? You're just going through the motions. And I think that's what I need to do a better job of, is being compassionate towards those people that truly don't know or have just never been exposed to it, because I wasn't either. And I had the box checker faith, man, where I looked good on Sunday, and I went to men's group on Tuesday night, and they're great people. They were awesome people at that church and that men's group. They were awesome people. And the Father moved, but it was like, there's more, I'm missing something, what's going on here? And as the Father led me to just read his word, he led me to this understanding of, oh, I'm supposed to be doing these things. And I thought I was crazy at first. I thought I was the only one, and I'm like, why would you show me this? And he's like, yeah, kid, you're special, but you're not that special. There's hundreds of thousands, there's millions of people coming to this same understanding. And it was a huge weight off my shoulders when I realized that. And then I get questions a lot from people who are like, well, if I'm not, air quote, doing the things, how come I have this relationship with the Father? And it's like, well, you do have a relationship with the Father. And the depth of experience that you're having is predicated upon the things that you're doing on behalf of the kingdom and what you're doing with the Father. And what you're missing is the fullness of that relationship. And that, for me, was the realization that, oh, okay, so the Old Testament and the New Testament are in the same binding for a reason. That we're supposed to do all these things for a reason. That if Yeshua had done away with the law, it would have negated every single messianic prophecy in the Old Testament. That he came not to destroy the Torah or the prophets, but to complete them, to be it, so forth and so on. And that the keeping of the Father's commands are a blessing. It's a real blessing. And so when you follow the instructions in the operator's manual, the equipment runs appropriately. Things work. When you don't, things don't work. And
we had steak matzo tacos.
What a burden.
Like, that's so terrible.
But it's even
amazing.
But it's even gotten to the point for me that I want people to read the user's manual for themselves and learn to operate the equipment for themselves and learn to talk to the manufacturer every day for themselves. And when people haven't read the operator's manual and aren't operating the equipment, I find it much harder to receive reproof and instruction from those people because they don't know. They're not doing it. They don't. It's like somebody who's read a quarter of the operator's manual for a D8 dozer walking out onto the job site while I'm operating one and saying, hey, you're doing that wrong. Because the book says, and I'm like, I know what the book says because I do what the book says every day. I live it every day. And so my understanding of how the dozer works is more real to me every day because I'm not just reading about it, I'm doing it. And I'm not reading a quarter of the user manual, but the entirety of the user manual. And then when you add in all of the prophets and everything they had to say, and what Messiah was prophesied to be, a king that restores the Father's people to the Father through the restoration of his law, the idea that the law was done away with completely negates all the prophecies that make Yeshua the anointed of the Most High in the first place. And it's like, that just simply comes from reading your Bible. Just read your Bible. It doesn't matter what anybody else says, and I've been lied to just as much as everybody else has. I just read my Bible.
I grew up Roman Catholic.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
nothing. Taught us nothing out of that book. Here's a verse. Here's another verse. Let's sing some songs and do some chants.
Right. Wizardry.
Yeah, like the amount of changes and blessings that I've noticed in my life, and even looking back from even when I was a young kid, like Yah was always there.
Mm-hmm.
Always. There's so many times that I messed up looking back that he covered my butt and saved my butt
Shalom.
from stupidness. You know, like, it's just, I can't deny it, man. I can't. Like, there's no doubt in my mind anymore.
Well,
That the doubt died for me about a year ago. Little under a year ago.
it's the mindset shift of realizing that the Torah is a blessing. It's not a curse, it's a blessing. I mean, literally Deuteronomy 28, if you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, then you shall be blessed. Jim D, we'll get there in 1 minute. Good question. So, if Messiah did away with all of the law, why are we still concerned with thou shalt not murder versus thou shalt not kill? Should I go cheat on my wife because adultery is okay now? Is it okay for me to steal from my brother?
Oh, the 10 Commandments. There's more than just 10.
So, and the ceremonial law, you hear a lot about that. The temple is now in us. That's out of the book of Hebrews, and Yeshua is the high priest. That's also out of the book of Hebrews. Read the entirety of Hebrews 8. It's highly recommended because Yeshua is the high priest. Copy. So we don't offer slaughter offerings. We do remembrances when we do feasts. When I slaughter a lamb on Passover, that it's not the blood of that lamb that has bought our sins. It's a remembrance of the blood of the Lamb of Yeshua HaMashiach, of Jesus the Christ, and how cheap our physical offerings are compared to what he did for us on the stake. That's what it's a remembrance of. It's not some witchcraft that the blood of this physical lamb is going to keep judgment off of my house. It's not that. It's a remembrance of Yeshua and what he did for us, and a remembrance of the Father and how he brought us out by a strong hand from the land of bondage and slavery and rescued us from that, and that he goes forth ahead of us to fight for us. That's what it is. And it's a total blessing. And when you hook into that and you start to live it and experience it, it's like, man, it's a depth of a relationship that is incomparable to anything I ever experienced outside of Torah. And so for me, it was always the Father just asking me, are you going to go deeper? Will you walk with me? Will you do what I've asked you to do? And that's the denying of the Ruach HaKodesh, the denying of the Holy Spirit, is biblically speaking the only unforgivable sin. And so when he knocks on your heart, you either go or you don't. And he only knocks on your heart so many times before you quit listening and he disregards you. I don't want to be disregarded. And the concept that this life that I lead, that is so incredibly blessed, that is beyond measure, that I get people who reach out to me every day simply wondering, how do I get some of what you have? The answer is Yah. Yahuwah my Elohim. That is a burden? No. It's misunderstood. And the way you understand it is by doing it. And so for everybody who's within the sound of my voice and the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit is knocking on the door of your heart right now, just start. Just do it. Especially right now, Passover and unleavened bread, at feast time, the Spirit moves hardcore. And it's moving right now. It's been moving all week. And so don't deny it.
That unleavened bread that your wife made yesterday.
Oh my
was
gosh.
Incredible. It was incredible.
The roadie, awesome. Jim D wanted to know what your thoughts were about the USMC getting rid of tanks.
Huh, that's new to me. I knew that the new current commandant wanted to take the focus away from land-based, like, occupational warfare, like the Army role, and focus more on amphibious roles. So what that tells me, and I don't think that the Marine Corps is going to just get rid of all of its tanks. I don't think they're going to get rid of all the tanks. But what that tells me is that there's something in the pipeline for the future where there's going to be some amphibious landings again, possibly. South China Sea, Pacific again, I don't know. But I doubt that the Marine Corps is getting rid of all of its tanks. If that came out of a Marine Corps Times article, that the Marine Corps is getting rid of its tanks, then I'll believe it. But if it came out of any other source other than the Marine Corps Times, the Marine Corps is not gonna get rid of its tanks. Because even in World War II, they had tanks hitting the beach. Well, not a lot of them, but they had a few.
Also, question, is the Marine Corps getting rid of its tanks like the Air Force was getting rid of its A-10s?
Yeah, I doubt that, because I think what's going to end up happening is that the commandant says, oh, I want to move in this direction, and then all the battalion commanders go up to the regimental commanders, and then the regimental commanders go up to the division generals, and the division generals go up to the commandant, and they're like, hey, sir, the units are coming back with what you said, and they're worried because of reasons X, Y, and Z. So we don't think this would necessarily be good for our readiness standards and morale either, even though they really don't care about that, but at least up there in Quantico. But I don't know, that's just me. I was in the military during the Obama years, so there's a bad, bitter taste in my mouth somewhat. I had a lot of good experiences during that time, and just to make a long story short, I saw the military, the Marine Corps especially, go from a fighting force of over 220,000 Marines to under 190,000 within the course of 3 years. If the numbers there are correct, I might not be 100% accurate on those numbers, but to my understanding, that's what I witnessed. And I don't know. There's a lot to go. There's a lot to be known there, and it needs to be verified. I don't want information. I want intel. I want something that's actionable.
Ooh, snap.
So,
snap.
and if they get rid of tanks, well, I guess we're done fighting in the Middle East then, because, and if the Marine Corps don't have tanks, guess what? The Army tank companies are going to be fighting alongside the Marine Corps then. And that's fine. I don't care. My brother was a tanker in the Army, so, you know, he called us crunchies.
Watch out, crunchies.
I was artillery, so
Watch out.
I didn't have to worry about tanks running me over. I was the guy that direct fired. tank in the open. Gunner, you got it.
Phelps, given any thoughts to the situation develops into a world government, digital currency, whatever, hundreds, thousands, or more Torah observant Christians in Oklahoma, Arkansas not participating will be targeted by the government. It's possible. And yes, I've given it a lot of thought. And suffice it to say, none of those thoughts will be articulated on open channels, but I'm happy to discuss with you off air. But we'll just leave it at that. Yes, I've given it thought. I also, my patience grows short. If we are men, let's act like it. If we are patriots, let's act like it. If we are pissed, let's act like it. And if we are not, our great-grandparents should be rolling in their graves right now.
You guys can literally email your local and state
Your representatives
in like 5 minutes. There's this really cool thing called Google, which tells you who's the one in charge and what their email address is. And they have people that work for them that read them and report up. And if enough people are saying the same thing, they will pay attention to that, because what does that mean? Re-election.
Yeah, my state
It
reps.
matters.
My state reps, I've talked to them on the phone several times. And now here in Oklahoma, I've called, and said, hello, is Mr. So-and-so in? And the girls at his office, women, excuse me, are very nice. And it's usually, yeah, he's here, but he's with somebody. Can you hold? Sure. Or he's out right now. Can I take a message? And I'm like, yeah, it's Bear from the internet. And they're like, hey, Bear, we thought it was you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just wondering where XYZ stands on ABC. And they're like, not a problem. We'll have them get back to you. And they do. They call back. And I'm like, cool. Hey, I'm talking to my state representative. Hey, man, where do you stand on this? And in fact, it's a shame, man, before this whole thing went down, we actually had a plan to get together and shoot some videos together. I was like, hey, I'll come to the Capitol building. We'll sit down. We'll talk. I want to get you on record on a couple of things and just hang out and chat and get to know you better. But it's an unprecedented opportunity. We've never had an easier time to be patriotic, and we've never been softer as a nation, I think. And that's what scares me, is the potentiality for complacency is massive, man.
I think a lot of it is distractions too, man.
I think yes and no, but people have been distracted forever. We talk about doing this, it's the iPhone, but it's like people have been staring at newspapers forever. And before, TikTok was a thing, everybody would huddle around the Victrola, it's...
Yeah.
Human nature is to be distracted from reality. But when I say soft, we've been making bread the last few days, which, again, if you look at the Father's Feasts, great preparation. We've been cooking over fire, slaughtering animals, butchering animals, and making bread.
It's so easy to make unleavened bread.
Right.
It's so easy.
But
I made unleavened bread.
But we know how to do it.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, hey, I need a bread recipe. It's like I have 6 in my head right now.
Yeah.
But we don't have to make our daily bread. Whereas literally the Lord's Prayer is, give us this day our daily bread. Let me just eat today, Father. If you could just put food in my belly today. And we're like, I wonder if we should go to Cabo in August or September. And it's like, shut up, Tina. Who cares? We're soft. We're soft. And I'm not one of these people who's clamoring for a reset. But if this allows us to put things into perspective, good. Good.
This was my first year celebrating Passover. because I came out of the, you know, Roman Catholicism, you know, Christianity, whatever. And, like, there's, like, I went hunting before as a child, but it was like, shoot the deer, gut the deer, take it to the butcher shop, and then get your meat a week or two later. And Passover, like, slaughtering an animal and then directly processing it and then cooking it over an open fire and going through what we're supposed to do, it really humbles you, man. Like, because it was not easy. And I'm thinking, like, this is just enough, like, this is more than enough to feed X amount of people. And I'm thinking, like, I couldn't even imagine back then, several thousand years ago, with knives made out of stone.
Yep.
And Bic lighters and diesel fuel weren't a thing. And, like, all this other, and, like, newspaper wasn't a thing. Like, all these other things. I'm like, how hard our ancestors were.
Yeah.
You know,
They
like,
were hard men and hard women.
yeah. Like, even hearing stories from my dad telling me about the early 60s, growing up with nothing but a mashed potato sandwich to take to lunch because that's how poor his family was 30 years after the Great Depression.
Yep.
Like, his mother and father both grew up during.
Yep.
And at an age where they understood how poor they were.
Grandma was raised right after the Great Depression by parents that survived the Great Depression, and to this day,
Grandma is BA.
Grandma,
like, for
grandma
real.
is
She's
BA.
awesome.
Grandma is awesome.
But it's like it's like the hard of hearing part. I think I know why.
Yeah. But you know, like,
Good job. dinner's on the plate. Ding ding ding.
but you know, it's like when the 82-year-old woman is out in her garden with a rototiller getting after it. It's hard to be like, oh, I don't think I want to do anything today. It's like, all right, well, grandma's getting some. I guess we got to go get some.
Yeah,
you know,
literally.
Yeah,
A very short distance to walk over here to have dinner with everybody, and she's like, "Nah, I got this."
yeah, I'm on it. I'm on it.
Like, that's
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah, grandma's cool. But she, you know, she was raised by parents that lived through the Great Depression, and to this day, you give her a birthday present or something, she saves the wrapping paper. She can't throw it out. She just she saves flour sacks.
Yeah.
Like the sack that flour comes in. She's like, well, we might need that for something. And I'm like, what are we going to need the flour sack for? But like, I've never lived in a world where a flour sack could be a valuable commodity. But in grandma's world, absolutely, there's a lot of things that you can do with a flour sack. And so to the extent that this worldwide situation puts us back into a mindset closer to that than the you know, disposable, you know, economy that we have right now, where everything's meaningless and it's just frivolity and you know, fleeting fulfillment.
There's
I
a
count it a
TV
blessing.
show. There's a TV show on this family, and I don't know who they are. I don't know what
Amen,
the show's
Amy.
called. I don't know what the show's called or who it is, but it's like the husband and the wife and the kids, and I'm like, how do y'all have this much money? And it's like the way that they talk, and I'm like, you're a husband. Are you sure? Like, you know, and I'm like, and they're on TV. Like, this is a reality TV show. And it's like, and then like right before this coronavirus thing started kicking off, they did an episode on the grandma. And it's like, grandma had a room full of stuff, like guns, food, toilet paper, and everything. And I'm like, she knows what's up. And like, and it's like her great grandson or her grandson. And he's like, I love my wife. My wife is the best. And it's like, dude, how you must have a lot of money.
Grandma's gonna kick your ass.
You must have a lot of money in order for you to have a wife of any sort. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
Oh, I meant to mention this earlier. I brought this out here. This is the bare minimum, and this is part of the giveaway this month for the $5 and up patrons. So if you're wondering, that's what this is. We're also giving away a EMP shield with this, and
Maybe
maybe
you can keep your house running.
maybe another thing or two.
Maybe.
But this is the gray Bearfack, handmade by Cody. It's Sojourn gear. I'm just going to show you guys real quick what's inside of it. I know a lot of y'all know, but I'm just going to show you. And so in this one, whoop, got it. Got some quick clot, bleeding controlled gauze.
High demand for quick clot.
Yeah, we just
today.
ordered 10 cases of it. And then so it's got this red tab in here after you open the top. And then this stays on your kit. This comes out.
That right there
Preach it.
was such a better system than what we were issued in the military. And I'm talking like 2015 current issue
Right.
IFAC for infantrymen, where it was a pouch that was bigger than that, and it was just guts.
Yeah.
In a
Right.
vacuum sealed pack.
Just
and it was like, how am I supposed
garbage.
to open this if I can't?
Bad dog, Sam.
Get him, Sam. Bad dogs.
All right, so surgical tape, cat tourniquet, decompression needle, 6-inch emergency trauma dressing, like I said, quick clot, rolled gauze, and then in the pouch down here, you've got nasal pharyngeal airway, you've got your 7 1/4-inch shears.
We didn't get those. They
No.
couldn't trust Marines with, stab-proof scissors.
2 5x9 gauze pads, and then 2 full-size high-fin chest seals.
We only got one.
Yeah, so there's 2 because a lot of bullet wounds have an out hole as well. And then also they're full size, and that's because I think the compact high fins are good, but if I can have full size, I'd prefer to have full size. And so a lot of comparable kits, if they have chest seals in them, have the compacts, and I like the full size. Well, because I'm me. I'm like twice the size of Yankee, okay? So I want the full size chest seals, and
Maybe
so
like 2/3.
maybe like 2/3. I'm only like 60% bigger, not quite 100%, but if you were ice fishing with both of us, he might fall in the hole, me probably not. So but anyway, that's part of the giveaway this month on Patreon, and of course they're available at bearindependent.com. They come in all the cool colors, and so I brought this gray one out because this is the one that we're giving away on Patreon this month. Get in there, gay. Okay.
I run a Bearfac on my kit, guys, and I plan on having all the Bearfacs in my vehicle for kits.
And then this one is mine in Gucci multicam. They come in multicam as well.
So
See,
Gucci.
That one's mine, and
What
then
did,
I just wrote Airfac
what
up
did
here.
Chris say?
Chris is saying more of the words.
Oh, explain your journey from Catholic wizardry to Torah.
Okay.
You do that while I go pee off the porch. I'll be right back. Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna
Don't
drink
fall
my
into
whiskey
the
and talk
don't
about
fall into the hole
the testimony.
in the lake where it's frozen, where we're doing the ice fishing. Okay.
Okay, because it is pretty chilly here.
It's pretty.
today.
It's getting kind of cold. Let's set the porch on fire. We'll stay nice and warm.
One, Chris, bless you, brother, for the super chat. You didn't have to do that to ask me this question. You can message me in multiple different channels. But thank you, bless you. So I grew up in the Roman Catholic Church. Didn't really stick to the faith too much. It didn't seem right, and I didn't agree with it. And when I was younger, I didn't understand why. Joined the military, was driving a Humvee one day, and then somehow I ended up getting saved in the back of a Humvee, which, even though I was born and raised in a Roman Catholic family, and, all the covenants that come with being, being in that church. Get saved in a Humvee, go to a Baptist church. Didn't agree with what the Baptist church was doing, which I only went like maybe 2 or 3 times. I'm just like, this just don't sit right with me either. So I get out, years go by, And I'm just like hating life. Dealing with an injury, still am currently dealing with an injury that is being progressively getting worse. And it's just, there's nothing I can really do about it other than just try a bunch of slew of different things and pray and just be like, you know, I'm looking for a way to make this better. You know, please, Father Yah, show me how to make this pain go away. And if I am suffering because you want me to learn something, please speak to me in a way that you can understand nowadays. But going prior to that, it was just dealing with an injury that was getting worse and worse. And then one day I stumbled across TJ on a channel about Minuteman stuff and gear, because I was like, you know, I'm just looking for gear. I feel like buying a new rifle or, you know, a new plate carrier. Let's see what's out there. And I see one of TJ's Minutemen videos about plate carriers, and I'm watching that. I'm like, who does this guy have to, you know, what does this guy have to, you know, why does his opinion matter? And then I keep watching, and I keep watching, and I'm like, oh, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. And then it was this this thing where I knew that he was reading out of the Bible, and I had a King James, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to follow along. And the first video was about Exodus 22. And Exodus 22:2 and Exodus 22:3 just punched me in the face because of the job that I was currently doing part-time. And it just moved on from there. Like, that was the big understanding. Like, it was like, here's the biblical separation from killing versus murder. And being a force-on-force instructor where you're literally teaching people to defend themselves, that's like, wow. Like, that hit me hard. And then it just kept, okay, maybe there's more to this than what I thought there was. And it was just watching and listening and reading for myself and seeing the words in front of my own face, and then having the conviction that, you know, to, hey, open up your Bible and whatever page you open to, start reading. And it just like, it was just one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. And there was a separation from, you know, there was a lot of heartaches with going to Torah, going back to Yah and not the church, going back to Yah and Yeshua. And I've had people that were very open, and they would be more than willing to have an open dialogue with me and ask me questions. I would have people that would completely turn around and shun me away. I would have people that would be combative towards me because of my beliefs. I'd have people that were, you know, they would make fun of me because of it. And I mean, like, I get it, like, you know, making fun of between friends and stuff that don't do it. Like, you know, it's like, you know, you don't eat bacon, that must suck. And it's like, well, bacon's no better than having a phallus in your mouth. So, haha, you know, it's like sin is sin. And they just look at me like, did you really just make that comparison? Yes, I did. You know, and I got that from a brother. So, you know, you know who you are if you're watching, you know, but it was just like, I've had a lot of people where you have to set the example. And I don't know if I've done a good job of that, but I'd like to think that I haven't set a bad example either. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You know, I won't know if I've made a mistake until my judgment comes, unless I knowingly make one. And I'm doing the best of my broken ability as a human being, because I was born a sinner and I'll die a sinner, to not make those mistakes. So, you know, praise Yah and you know, for the sacrifice of Yeshua. You just got to keep going one step at a time, man. Follow your convictions, read the word, talk to the Father, which that's something that I have to get better at, is taking more time out of my day to talk to the Father and figure things out, and to just, you know, repent and to ask for forgiveness and direction and understanding. And there's just a lot to that. But I mean, if you have somebody, I'm a single guy, so I haven't had to deal with the situation of, you know, I'm in this relationship with somebody and they're receptive to it. And I mean, I've met several people that were receptive to it, but it's really hard to break people of their habits. The one thing that I could say is that being with my family during the transition, which my mother was raised Roman Catholic, my father was raised Protestant, you know, celebrating Christmas and Easter, like, you know, did my mom and dad my mom wished me a happy Easter. My dad said, have a good day. I'm celebrating Easter. You know, so there's a little bit of a difference there. But one thing that I really appreciated was that they didn't put up the big Christmas tree this year. They had a little plastic fake tree with the changing colored lights built into it, but they didn't decorate it. And that was a big thing for them because that was a thing that they did every year. Like forever. Like they've been doing that since they were born in the 50s. Like,
Right.
you know, this has been a 60-year thing for them. So like I get it. But, you know, it's one step at a time. You can't shove it down people's throats because if you try to forcefully shove, you have to do this, and if you don't do it, you're wrong because I said so, because the book says so. You have to let people find their way on their own. You have to. Because if you force somebody to be there, then are they there for Yah, or are they there because you put them there? And that's something that I had to really, that was a lesson that I learned, is that I can't be overbearing with the word. Now, I can talk about it. I can ask people to do the research for themselves and to develop that relationship with their creator themselves. But I am not going to force somebody to do it, because just like forcing tyranny upon others, you know what I mean? It's no different. There's going to be judgment one day, and I am not a judge.
So, sorry, my bad.
Whiskey tooth.
Sorry.
I'm kidding. I'm
You're
good.
okay. I started Torah on my own. I told my wife, I said, hey, this is something I'm doing, and it will likely become something we do. But I'm not going to ask you to do any of this until I can explain it, because I had the conviction to do it, but I couldn't explain it. Well, I can explain it now. And when I explained it to my wife, her answer was, okay, with the implication of, lead the way, Haas. And so I lead my family in that. And one of the wonderful things about brethren is that we lead each other in it. There's days when I'm the leader, there's days when you're the leader, there's days when other brothers are the leader. And that's one of the wonderful things about brothers, is that there's days when, you know, y'all see me. And I think to a certain extent, you guys have a concept of the fact that we have a tribe of brothers and that we do things together. The vast majority of the people in our lives don't have YouTube channels, and I don't show you those people. And there's a positive and a negative there. The positive is that the brilliant and wonderful effect that those people have on our lives is entirely ours, and we get to selfishly enjoy it for ourselves. The negative is y'all only see one facet of that relationship. You see me talking about that rather than us all experiencing it together. And it is a blessing beyond compare to have brothers who are learned in the Word and guided by the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, to plus each other up when you have an issue. Hey, what do you think about this? And to be able to get wise counsel on whatever this is priceless. And I do think that, to a large extent, it's not a coincidence that people are at this channel. It's not a coincidence that people are asking these questions. Y'all see something in us. What you see in us is the Father working through us, and the fact that we're all works in progress, but we at least know that we're works in progress and we're working on it. And we're working on it in line with the Father's will for our lives, and that resonates with y'all. And so to the extent that that can lead you back to the Father, awesome. That's what I'm you know, I've said it before and I mean it. I got this email from this guy one time. It goes, Bear, I got you all figured out, Bear. You're just using this prepper crap to get people to read their Bibles. Gold star. Ding, ding, ding. Give that guy a medal. He wins. Yup. Yup. Yup, you caught me. Good job, homie. But there's a depth to our faith and there's a realness to our experience, and I think that's what conveys on camera, and it's part of what the Father is using to return people to him, and it's the honor of a lifetime, because I'm not worthy. I'm not special. Yah is special. I'm not powerful. He is. I'm not wise. He is. I'm not talented. He is. I'm just fearfully and wonderfully created in his image. And so I've led my family in that. There are days where I lead my brothers in that, and there are days where my brothers lead me in that. But it's a walk, man. And the more you walk it, the better you can talk it. And the more it makes sense to people when you try and explain it to them. And your light should be so bright that you can't hide it when people go, man, I don't know what you're doing, but I got to get some of that. And it's like, I'm just keeping commands. They're like, what does that even mean? Well, let me talk to you. You know, and I guess we have a brother who is very fond of saying this, and I appreciate the insight. He goes, look at the fruit. Just look at the fruit. Look at the fruit that is born here. Look at the fruit that is born at Grindstone. Look at the things that happen on behalf of the Father's kingdom through the doing of these convictions. Not just the talking about, but the doing of. And so if it's bearing fruit, and it's bearing good fruit, what else is there? You know? And so it's the honor of a lifetime that my life looks the way that it does. But as far as bringing people to Torah, the Torah is a conviction that the Father puts on your heart. And then once you're convicted, you either do it or you don't. And when you don't do it, and even for me, let's just say daily, when I'm presented with opportunities to be obedient and I'm not, my day sucks. When I'm presented with opportunities to be obedient and I am, my day goes well. And we have more good days than not around here. And, you know, call it what you want to call it. By grace through faith, we are saved. Amen. But obedience brings blessing. And we're blessed. So you live it, brother. You live it. And then when people see you living it, they go, man, I got to get some of that. And you're like, cool. Well, let me talk to you. So
I think there was some good news today. Or was it yesterday about Bethany House?
yeah, I'll announce that at some other point. Yeah,
You didn't hear anything.
we're 5 minutes to 10 o'clock, so
Oh,
we're
smokes.
about to put a bow on this.
Yeah.
Let's pray with the people right quick and call it an evening. Ready?
Ready.
Father Yah, thank you for these people. Thank you for this time, and we ordain it to you. I pray that this time would be a blessing to everybody within the sound of my voice. Father, thank you for being freaking awesome and for being sovereign over all things. Thank you for restoration and just remediation of us and our brokenness through Yeshua Messiah. Thank you for redemption, Father. Thank you for using us to facilitate good works for your kingdom. Father, thank you for seeing enough of you in us that we'd be worthy of being saved by the blood of the Lamb. And Father, you know what I mean by that. None of us is worthy, but still you stretch your hand out to us. You make a way for us, and I'm just deeply appreciative of that. Father, thank you for being sovereign over all things. I pray that as this COVID-19 thing continues to progress, that you would just keep us mindful of who it is that drives the bus, that it matters less where we're going and it matters more where we're going. And that's with you. We're going wherever you live, wherever you lead. Father, thank you for this time. Thank you for these people. I pray that you'd bless them. It's in Yeshua's name we pray. Amen. Bless y'all, and shalom. Thanks for being here.